asking again. Okay, and our second question is, what is the best approach the government can take in battling the problem of homelessness?
Well, I think the best approach is to fill the gaps. There are gaps in homelessness, and like a lot of people think, the answer is, well, let's get them in housing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a proven fact, at least through my organization, that that's not necessarily the key, because a lot of them, many that let's say the chronically homeless that have been homeless for years, and the thought of they want to be off the streets, they want to be in their own place, but that becomes scary to them after being homeless for so long. And I know several that we have partnered with agencies or ourselves have helped get into a place for the first time, and they end up leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do living inside after 5, 10, 15 years of living outside. And yes, we do have some transitional housing, but still that they have to be in there in order to be here. And let me give you a quick example. Is I helped a gentleman get in to a place. He'd been homeless for 15 years. He came to me and says, "Terry, what do I do?" And I said, "What do you mean, what do you do?" He said, "It's me in these four walls." I said, "Well, I can help you with this, this, and this. This is what I do." He goes, "No, I mean," and suddenly I got it. I got what he was saying. It wasn't the material things, but it was just, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had this sudden idea. I said, "You have a patio, don't you?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "You sleep out on that patio. But the good thing is, if you get cold or it starts to rain, you can come in, because that's your place." He did that for almost 6 months, and he slowly acclimated to being inside. And then once he got in there, you couldn't get him out of there. He loved it. But it's just some people, it takes a while to transition after being, especially a long time
Mm-hmm.
outside.
It's
So that kind of a gap. But there needs to be some kind of a gap, you know, that's filled to help them transition, a slow transition maybe, in and out, a little more freedom, where they're not going to get, you know, penalized for being outside.
That's a really good idea, because it seems to me that they people really help mend like the necessary needs that they need right now rather than like in the future. So there needs to be a solution that goes on for like multiple years instead of just helping them like what they really need now, besides
Right.
just food and clothing. They need like psychological help maybe to get back on their feet. And
Yeah, there's a lot of counseling actually that
Mhm.
is needed. I don't think they get near as much as they do, because some of them, because of the years of drug addiction, there's a chemical imbalance and a mental thing that happens. When that happens, it's a proven fact. And a lot of them suffer from mental illness. It's also a proven fact that drug addiction, like meth and schizophrenia, or years of heroin abuse and schizophrenia, go hand in hand. It does something to the brain. And so when it gets to that point, you know, they need extra help. And the way it is in our economy, or in our environment now, in our government now, or whether it's city or state or national, is that there's a lot of mentally ill on the streets
Thank you.
because they're just not helped.
Yes. And it's really nice to have people like you that are like reaching out to those that are in need, but it seems to me that a lot of the public, they're not fully educated about this problem. And so for people like us that like don't really like donate our like life to it, like what do you think is like a good effort that we can put in? Like how can the individual help like remedy this effect of homelessness?
Well, I think how you can remedy it is by being taught, because it's lack of knowledge. So if you have somebody that is involved in it, like myself, that, you know, to come and speak and to share. Because what happens is you get like a stereotype of homelessness in your head. What's that guy in the corner holding a sign? It's a drug addict. All they want is money to whatever. Well, yeah, it's that, but it's a much bigger umbrella than that. Like I said, we had more families with children coming this year than ever before because of the economy. I have senior citizens coming in here to get a hot lunch just to be able to make ends meet. I have people that have mental disorders coming in here because it's a safe place. I mean, not severe mental disorders, but, you know, some disorders. And so the umbrella is much bigger than what people think. It's this kind of this narrow-minded view of what homelessness is, when actually we need to broaden that view like this, and to realize that it's much more than that. It's youth. We have some youth that are homeless, and they come from abuse. If you sit down and listen to any of the abusive situations. Some rebelliousness, absolutely. They don't want anyone telling them what to do. But some of it is also abuse. So it's just, being educated and learning to broaden your view of what homelessness involves.
Yes, thank you. It's nice to point out the continuum of like why people end up in the situations that they are in, because it's not just one reason. And thank you for pointing that out. It's nice to hear from someone that actually like really knows what they're saying. And our last question is, who do you think is more responsible, the government or the community, in addressing the issue of homelessness? From our research, we decided that it needs to go hand in hand. We feel as if that private organizations, although they're doing a really great job addressing the issue, that sometimes organizations can tend to be disorganized, or they need more funding to do the means that they're doing right now. Do you feel that way, or
I
what's
think
your
it's a
take?
partnership. I think everything needs to be people partnering together. That's the key. It's like everybody holding hands, and everybody trying to help together, because it's not any one person that can do it. And if it's just government doesn't have the ability to see at the local level. All right? Myself, who's involved in the community, in the county, can tell you what is happening in this county. There are so many people that don't even realize that Clackamas County has between 3,000 and 4,000 homeless, that we are only second to Multnomah County, and that the highest concentration of homelessness is in North Clackamas. Not everybody can give you the stats, and not everybody can tell you what's going on here. Not everybody can tell you that there's no feeding program here. It's one of the most underprivileged areas in here. But I'm in this neighborhood, and I can tell you that. And so that's why it takes a partnership, because it takes local government, local organizations partnering so that we can feed that information nationally.
Thank you so much for like all your insight, and I think that's pretty much it. So
Okay.
thank you.
So do you need to talk to